Welcome to AI Book Highlights. Today we're looking at a really influential book for anyone thinking about strategy. It's Blue Ocean Strategy: How to Create Uncontested Market Space and Make the Competition Irrelevant by Chan Kim and Renée Mauborgne. Essentially, it's about moving beyond just competing harder and finding new ground.
Exactly. It's a powerful idea. Instead of just fighting those crowded red oceans where everyone's doing the same thing, this book lays out how to find or create blue oceans. That means, untapped markets where competition isn't really the main issue.
So the idea is to make the competition irrelevant.
That's the goal, yeah. Today, we want to unpack the core concepts. We'll talk about what these red and blue oceans actually are. We'll get into value innovation, that's kind of the engine behind it all. We'll also look at a really practical tool, the 4 actions framework, for figuring out how to create new value, plus ways to systematically look for these blue ocean opportunities and how to visualize your strategy.
Great. Let's start with that core contrast then. Red oceans versus blue oceans. It's such a sticky metaphor.
It really is. So red oceans are, well, they're all the industries that exist today. The known market space. Think about, say, the smartphone market now, or the U.S. wine industry, like the book mentions. Lots of players, intense competition.
Fighting for market share, driving down prices. The bloody waters idea.
Precisely. Margins get squeezed, it becomes harder to stand out. It's often about incremental improvements, beating the competition on existing terms.
Okay, so blue oceans are the opposite.
Right. They represent the unknown market space. Industry is not in existence today. It's about creating new demand, often by tapping into people who aren't even customers of the current industry. Think about the very first automobiles or, things like personal computers when they first emerged. They weren't just better horse carriages or typewriters. They created entirely new possibilities.
And the book argues this isn't just ancient history, right? New industries are always being created.
Absolutely. It emphasizes that our capacity to create new industries is often underestimated. And crucially, it's not always about the company or even the industry itself being inherently innovative. The key unit of analysis, they say, is the strategic move, the set of actions that unlocks the new value.
Like Cirque du Soleil, they didn't just try to be a slightly better traditional circus.
Exactly. They fundamentally changed the game. They kept some circus elements, but blended them with theater, opera, ballet, creating a whole new form of entertainment that appealed to adults, not just families with kids. They made the traditional circus competition irrelevant to them.
Okay, so that leads us nicely into the engine driving this, value innovation. What exactly is that?
Value innovation is really the heart of Blue Ocean strategy. It's the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost. Instead of focusing on just beating competitors, you focus on making the competition irrelevant by creating a leap in value for buyers and for your company.
So it breaks that traditional trade-off, where you either offer more value but at a higher cost, or you offer less value for a lower cost.
Exactly. Value innovation is about achieving both greater value and lower cost. It's about aligning innovation directly with utility, what buyers find useful price, and the company's cost structure.
It's not just tech for tech's sake, then.
Not at all. The book makes a strong point that technology innovation or market pioneering alone doesn't automatically create blue oceans. Lots of pioneers fail. Value innovation happens when the innovation is anchored in what buyers value and is delivered cost-effectively. You lower costs by eliminating and reducing factors the industry competes on, but buyers don't necessarily value that much. And you increase buyer value by raising and creating elements the industry hasn't offered before.
Right, that makes sense. It has to work for the customer and the company.
And over time, as you achieve scale, the cost can fall even further. It's a whole system approach, integrating everything the company does, not just tweaking one part like production.
So how do companies actually do this? How do they find ways to both increase value and decrease cost?
Well, that's where the 4 actions framework comes in. It's a really practical tool to help reconstruct buyer value elements and craft a new value curve or strategic profile.
Okay, the 4 actions. Let's break those down. What's the first action?
The first is eliminate. Which factors that your industry has long competed on should be eliminated? Think about what's taken for granted but maybe doesn't add much value anymore, or perhaps even detracts from it for a new group of customers. Cirque du Soleil, again, they eliminated animal shows, star performers, aisle concessions, things that were core to traditional circuses, but expensive and not essential for the sophisticated experience they were creating.
Got it. Cut out the unnecessary baggage. What's next?
Second is reduce. Which factors should be reduced well below the industry standard? These are factors that maybe you can't get rid of entirely, but perhaps they're over-engineered or over-invested in relative to the value they deliver. Cirque du Soleil reduced the emphasis on, say, raw thrills and danger compared to the traditional three-ring spectacle.
Okay, eliminate and reduce help lower the cost side. What about boosting value?
That's where the next two come in. Third is raise. Which factors should be raised well above the industry standard? This is about amplifying key elements that deliver exceptional value. Cirque du Soleil raised the artistic quality, the music, the dance, the overall production value, way beyond what circuses offered.
And the final action?
Fourth is create. Which factors should be created that the industry has never offered? This is where true innovation comes in, offering entirely new sources of value. Cirque du Soleil created unique themes for each show, a refined viewing environment, multiple productions touring, things completely new to the circus world.
So eliminate, reduce, raise, create. Applying those four really forces you to rethink the whole value proposition.
It does, and the book uses the example of Casella wines with yellow tail. They applied this framework to the U.S. wine market. They eliminated or reduced intimidating factors like complex terminology, tannins, oakiness, the need for aging. They raised the ease of drinking, the fruity taste. And they create a fun, simple brand image, easy-to-choose packaging, appealing to people who found traditional wine confusing.
And the result is a strategy that looks very different from competitors, what the book calls divergence.
Exactly. A strong blue ocean strategy has focus, not trying to be everything to everyone, divergence from the industry norm, and usually a compelling tagline that speaks to that new value. Like Yellowtail's a fun and simple wine to be enjoyed every day.
Okay, so the four actions help you design a new strategy. But where do you even start looking for these opportunities? How do you find spaces to apply this thinking?
That's where the Six Paths framework comes in. It provides systematic ways to look across conventional boundaries of competition to find blue ocean opportunities. It helps reduce the sort of search risk.
Six path. Let's touch on a couple. What's the first one?
Path one is look across alternative industries. Don't just look at your direct competitors. Consider industries offering products or services that have different forms but serve the same basic function or objective for customers. Think about why customers choose between, say, going to the cinema versus a restaurant for a night out. Different forms, similar objective, and evening's entertainment. NetJets did this by looking across commercial airlines and the option of buying a whole private jet. They created fractional jet ownership as an alternative sitting between those two.
Interesting. So looking at what customers are trying to achieve, not just the specific product they buy, what's another path?
Path two is look across strategic groups within industries. Most industries have strategic groups, companies pursuing a similar strategy, often based on price and performance. Think luxury car brands versus economy car brands. The path here is to understand why customers trade up to a higher group or trade down to a lower one. What factors drive that decision? Curves, the women's fitness chain, looked at traditional, often intimidating health clubs and simple home exercise programs. They created a niche by offering a simple, supportive, 30-minute workout solution, appealing to women who were put off by both extremes.
So you're looking for the compromises customers are making between different tiers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other paths involve looking across the chain of buyers, not just the end user, looking across complementary products and services, looking across the functional, emotional orientation of the industry, and looking across time and emerging trends. Each path provides a different lens to spot opportunities others miss.
It sounds like a very structured way to brainstorm potential blue oceans. And visualization seems key too, with the strategy canvas.
Yes, the strategy canvas is a central diagnostic tool. It's basically a graph. The horizontal axis shows the key factors an industry competes on: price, quality, service features, whatever they are. The vertical axis shows the offering level buyers receive for each factor. You plot your company's profile or value curve against your competitors.
So you can visually see where everyone is investing and competing.
Right. And more importantly, you use it with the 4 actions framework to sketch out new potential value curves. A strong blue ocean strategy will have a value curve that looks distinctly different from the competition. It shows that focus, divergence can lead to that compelling tagline. If your curve looks like everyone else's, you're likely stuck in a red ocean.
And you can use this to map out different possibilities generated by the 6 paths.
Precisely. It helps compare potential strategies visually. The book even talks about using it at a corporate level to map a portfolio of businesses, distinguishing the pioneers, blue ocean creators, from migrators, value improvers, and settlers, V2 businesses, to see where future growth will come from.
Okay, this is all really insightful. Let's distill this into some actionable takeaways for listeners. What's the first big action someone could take?
The first and maybe most fundamental takeaway is to identify your industry's competitive factors and challenge assumptions. Really sit down and map out those factors your industry competes on. Use the strategy canvas idea. Then be critical. Ask yourself, for each factor, is this truly essential for creating value for our target customers, or is it just how things are done? Apply those, eliminate, and reduce questions rigorously. Where can you cut costs by getting rid of things that don't genuinely add value, or perhaps even subtract it? Think about Yellowtail again, questioning all that complex wine tradition.
So step one is really dissecting your current reality and questioning everything. What's a second key action?
The second takeaway is to actively explore non-customers and look across boundaries. Don't just obsess over your current customers and competitors. The biggest opportunities often lie with those who aren't currently using your industry's offerings. Think about the tiers of non-customers the book describes, those on the edge, those who refuse, and those completely unexplored. Why aren't they buying? What would it take to bring them in? And use those 6 paths we talked about. Look beyond your industry's borders. Look at alternatives, strategic groups, complementary offerings. Broaden your perspective systematically. NetJets found gold by looking between commercial and private flying.
Right. Look outside your current pond. What's the third major takeaway?
The third one is to strive for value innovation, not just incremental improvement. Don't just aim to be slightly better or slightly cheaper than the competition. Aim for that significant leap in value for both the buyer and your company. That's the core idea. This means consciously working to break the value-cost trade-off. Make sure any innovation is tightly linked to what customers will find useful, utility, at a price they're willing to pay, and that you can deliver it profitably, cost. A cool invention isn't enough, and craft that compelling tagline. Summarize your unique value proposition clearly and memorably. It crystallizes your strategy.
Eliminate or reduce assumptions, explore non-customers and boundaries, and aim for that simultaneous leap in value and cost savings through value innovation. Those are powerful action points.
They really are. And Blue Ocean Strategy goes into much more depth on how to implement these, with detailed processes and many more examples.
We've definitely just scratched the surface here. It's a book that can really shift your perspective on strategy and competition.
Absolutely. It offers a roadmap, really, for creating new market space instead of just fighting over the existing territory.
So if you're intrigued by these ideas and want to learn how to potentially find or create your own blue ocean, we definitely recommend getting the book Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renée Mauborgne. We'll put a link to purchase it in the description below. Thanks so much for joining us today on AI Book Highlights. We hope this gave you some valuable insights to think about.